You know what we're talking about today.
Oh man, is it already that episode?
Yeah.
No, you know I'm just kidding, right? I don't really like that stuff. No, not that gross! No!
Yes,
Gross!
Take it.
Alright guys, you know, we've been doing this show for a while now. How many episodes are we in now?
67, 68. This is our... Are we really doing this? Our 69th episode. Did we plan this? Is this what we're doing?
This is what we're doing.
We're talking about hentai.
What kind of perverted monster are you?
I'll ask the most immediate question.
Okay.
Tina, hi, how you doing? Rob Fox,
hi,
nice
yeah.
to meet you. What is the exact definition of hentai? Because I was looking through the Royal Archives to try and determine.
I don't have any hentai!
Transformers. What's wrong
My Royal Archives to try and determine.
Dan knows all the robot shit, doujinshi.
robots.
That's called piss players.
So, what specifically defines hentai versus like?
Okay,
porn?
so if you're talking like what is the definition of
could've told you
hentai,
that.
it just
Well-
basically means perverted. So you'll hear like in any anime, you'll say, you know, like see characters and they're like, oh, hentai, he's a hentai, you know, he's perverted. For Americans, we take that hentai a little bit serious and we're talking about getting it on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
In Japan, you couldn't show penetration between a man and a woman, right? And so
And-
the way they got through, you know, a little loophole was, we'll just use tentacles.
Yes.
They
Yes,
didn't say anything about
exactly.
tentacles,
It's-
right?
I mean,
It's not genitalia.
All right, so we're gonna talk about Urotsukidoji, Legend of the Overfiend, and I think that because that kind of starts the whole era of hentai, at least for America. I know in Japan there were other things like Lolita Girl and things like that, and even to an extent, Go-Go 13. We joked about that. The professional Go-Go 13 had a really erotic sex scene. My story starts when I was a young lad in high school. Shut up! So, when I was in high
this
school,
is already a Euro manga. It's like,
I was a freshman in high school, and I had just watched Akira in the movie theater, and I was telling a mutual friend of ours about this. And he's like, hey, dude, you need to watch Urotsukidoji. And I'm like, oh, is it as good as Akira? And he was like, better. So, I went to the local shady shop in the basement, of course, where they rent out anime. And I'm like, hey, do you guys have this movie? And the guy's like, how old are you? I was like, 13. And he's like, yeah, I'll be right back. So it's an old shell videotape.
Was this like Cut Corner?
Oh,
in
yeah.
Lexington?
He
Okay.
knows where it was.
Yeah.
oh my god.
Dan and his VIP ticket. Anyway. So he comes back with one of
crusty.
these clamshells, and he's like, here you go, man, enjoy. And I'm like, awesome. I love Akira. And he's like, all right, whatever. So I go home, and I pop it in. And
Don't say pop it in.
you know, the first part, they're in high school. They're in a high school. I'm like, all right, this is cool. Within 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my god, that poor woman, right? that's horrible. And watching, honestly, it changed me so much. It's not the moment that I became, you know, I think go
man.
from boy to man. It just fucking weirded me out because I was a kid. I was a freshman in high school, and we didn't have the internet back then. I had watched just, well,
Cinematic.
semi-normal porn. No, not. But my dad had a stash anyway. But it changed me so much
These were
that.
cartoons, and like your parents are unsubscribed.
And yeah, that's it. The cartoons were limitless, like what you could do with the imagination. And holy shit, these people's imagination was so
fucked up.
different than mine. I just remember my jaw dropped, and I watched the entire thing, of course.
And then
I
watched
thought-
it again.
And I thought
And then
to
again.
myself,
And then he went to confession.
I would
After a
never
stop in the bathroom.
never be able to sexually satisfy a woman because I don't have 18 penises coming out of my head. Dear God, what am I gonna do? And I thought that, like, for a long time. I'm like, oh my God, these women, this is what they want. They want these creepy, rapey guys coming after
With
them
tentacles everywhere.
with high school hijinks. Oh man.
You didn't stop to think that this was made for God.
So that was my first one, and I know Rob and I share a very similar experience because we talked about this.
So no one was home so I drove home, watched this movie, and like it starts out just like you said, regular old anime. I'm like, this is great, and then the whole hospital, all 700 women in this hospital, raped simultaneously by this monster, and I was
rape him. He absorbed them into his giant dick that went across the hospital and then the whole town. And
Which is kind of like the Cell Saga.
Yes, exactly, just like Cell Saga. So you have to understand, at the time, I had never seen like anything pornographic or anything like that. This is all just completely.
And you were over 18.
Rob lived a very sheltered life.
I lived a very sheltered life at this point,
which explains the way he is now.
Horrible and awful. So I watched. So hold on. So I watched this thing, and yes, again, I did watch the whole thing. Because even though I was traumatized, my jaw was dropped, my ears were bleeding, my eyes were just like, ah. After it was over, I slowly took the tape out of the VCR, put it back in its case, drove back to Cut Corner, beep the name, drove back to Cut Corner, returned the tape, and I didn't talk to women for a week, a solid week. I was so traumatized.
Well, let's be honest, though, that's no different than any other week.
No, that's not true.
Now, I just want to chime in with my short story here, which is that after having watched it at Omar's house,
because Omar was in it,
when we were in high school, I also went to Cut Corner in college because it was right across the street from our dorm. Rented Uratsuka Doji, then wrote a paper about it.
Wow.
And submitted it in one of my film classes.
There were tentacles everywhere in this thing, man! I was like, dang! And scene.
Yeah.
I always see the people that rented these things to us that were like, enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, turned into a giant dick monster after we walked out.
Yeah, like, again,
right?
This dude that was
That's
like,
exactly what happened. That motherfucker came from the underworld to show us these things. Forever changed my life. I can't have normal sex anymore, buddy. Thanks.
So you guys were actually like going out and renting this stuff.
Yes,
legit,
we're old.
legit traumatized. Yeah.
What was the first hentai I watched? It was the horrible Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball.
Sailor Moon and the Seven Balls.
Yes. Where like tuxedo is I think like
No clip.
no. So yeah, like watching it like a lesbian and a gay dude watching this like hentai together is like the most awkward thing
That should be a
ever.
let's play
This
or
is
let's
doing
watch.
nothing for me.
This is doing nothing for me. Now,
so a kind of bookend to our story is that we had hyped this up for years, joking about, oh my god, it's so traumatizing, right? Me and Rob, to our significant others and our wives. Our wives.
Did they watch it?
And then we watched them all together, and they were both look at us, and they were like, man, y'all are a bunch of little bitches. And we were like, what the fuck? We're like, did you see his penis? Like, it turned into a giant penis.
and our wives was like,
This shit is weak.
weak.
And they were like, let's go to a strip club, leave these pussies here.
Really, through high school, it was anime equals boobs and tentacle porn.
So that, like, Central Park Media owned the rights to that stuff. So they were the first ones here in America to kind of just let out these things like Urotsuko Doji 2. And then they, Inferno Road, La Blue Girl, which was huge here in America.
That was actually good.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. Like, I'll give Urotsuko Doji had plot and a huge budget. La Blue Girl just
had a huge other thing.
But I will say that was the first time I also saw, because in Urotsuko Doji, what they did was kind of blur out the penetration, right? When it became penis and vagina coming together, right? No tentacles.
You have the blurred
It was
line, pixelated. You have the white bar, the black bar.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't until Urotsuko Doji 3, then they just jumped the shark because they added black bars, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this shit.
They do creative angles now where they don't have to do that. Well, it still builds up. Builds up the momentum, and you get the gist of it. They don't have to, I guess, interrupt with that jarring black bar. And
I love some of the titles they have, like Titty Titty Bang Bang. That's genius, man. Because if you look at porn, they don't even try anymore.
Super
like
Horny Brothers.
Like
not X-Men porn.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
That's what they're called. It's like not X-Men porn, right?
Yeah.
Not Fantastic Four porn. It's like the beauty of the play-on names are gone. Like when we grew up, we used to watch like Edward Penis Hands and RoboCop. When Harry ate Sally. That's one of my favorite ones growing up. I can name a bunch. But anyway, these are the guys that grew up, and then they started translating for all these animes, and they're like, oh, okay. Titty bang bang. Genius.
Paycheck.
If hentai's not enough for you, you can take your loving, normal characters that you enjoy from One Piece or whatever, and you can find the naughty doujin version of them. Like I've got Sergeant Frog back there, which I won't show the viewers.
In America, we'd call that IP infringing content.
I mean, what is that rule on the internet? It's 60...
34.
Rule 34.
34.
If you can think of it, there's already porn for it.
Yeah,
Right.
Shadow and Shrek.
Yes, so look up some Shadow and Shrek stuff.
I don't know why that's the first one to come up. Don't judge
That
me.
was a terrible example. You're supposed to say like Nami and
Sanji.
Sanji. Yeah. No! Quit saying Shrek.
So my favorite...
Princess Peach and Mario.
Surprisingly,
Doujin.
Shrek is in the... Never mind.
He's so into this Sonic.
Shut up!
So it's Shadow and Shrek
Anyway, go ahead. What were you? What is your favorite?
is
that's
Orange
not-
Typhoon, but you know that's pretty tame.
Orange Typhoon is a author.
Yes, is a duo that they do Nami and Sanji from One Piece. So they have a lot of dirty doujin about it.
That sounds great.
Yeah, well, it's totally great. A lot of yoi, man on man.
I don't know if any of you guys know or not, but is the market in Japan? Is it more hentai or is it just live action porn? Like to me here in America, that is still our biggest industry, is the porn industry, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, in Japan, is it animation? Like,
You know, I honestly don't know. I know they do have pornos. I've seen, to out myself, I've seen pornos, Japanese pornos, but I honestly don't see a lot of Japanese pornos. Maybe it's just because I'm looking at anime and that's all I really care about.
in books like this, Manga Sutra, not mine, this is borrowed from another friend of mine. His name is Omar, and this book did not help him any. A lot of the artwork in here is blurred out, so
Right.
it's not just anime, it's also manga. In the doujinshi that you and whatever your friend's name is have,
Not Rob.
is it blurred out as well? Like
Yes, it is. It is. So if you
penetration
sell it,
scenes.
uh-huh.
So I know it wasn't Crying Freeman and things like that, but I didn't know if that was because those are mainstream books, or is it because...
Yeah, no. Artists actually, it's kind of a weird legal area. They do sell these. So anything that's sold in Japan, you have to censor it. So if you're selling it, you gotta censor it. But if it's for your own private use, whatever. You know, you're not selling it. So if you post it online, which I've seen Japanese artists post stuff online, I don't see bars on that. But I've seen bars like for doujin that's sold, because they do sell it at places like the comic markets and stuff. You have to censor it or you're gonna get in trouble.
Is there anything that you recommend watching? Wait, maybe not a good question.
Watch this. All right, I want everyone to watch this and then tell us if we were weak sauce.
We were so weak,
Yeah,
dude.
we're totally weak
Compared to the shit that she's into, we're weak.
What are some of your favorite hentai titles? You know, just asking for a friend. Oh, and if you liked this episode, please subscribe, comment down below, and share. Boobs and tentacles. It's happening tonight. You know my house is nothing but pussy.
You made me shut up. It's hard to do. Why am I so nervous about this episode?